What's up everyone, it's Dave Stone with another exciting episode of Develop Awesome Skills, where I'm committed to providing inspirational and practical ways to transform your life and the world around you by planting fruit and medicinal trees. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about foliar feeding. I did a little video last year on foliar feeding, but I want to do a little update because if you want your fruit trees to produce you food, you have to do something super crucial. You have to feed your trees. And there's a handful of ways to feed your trees. So what I'm going to talk to you about today are 2 ways to feed your trees. Now, the third way that I'm just going to call it's the given is wood chips. Just tons and tons of wood chips all over your dirt. There's many reasons to use wood chips. First off, in the Arizona summer, it protects the top layer of the ground from the sun. Now, when I say wood chips, I don't just mean wood. So if you go to Home Depot and you go buy the cedar wood chips, it's just separated wood with no leaves. What you really want is an arborist to drop off some wood chips that have been chipped up from an actual tree that they trimmed, because then you're going to get the wood and the leaves. That's a nitrogen and a carbon source, and they're going to combine together to give you a composting action. If you just have straight wood, it's not going to compost down as well. But it's better than having nothing. And the reason people think, oh, it's okay just to have straight wood is because they think there's only one purpose for wood chips. And they think it's just protect the ground from the top of the ground from the sun. But that's one reason to have wood chips. Here's a couple more. You can overwater your plants and it won't affect your plants if you're heavy wood chipped. You can underwater your plants and it won't affect your plants as much because you're heavy wood chipped. Once you get the wood chips in place, in an extreme amount, they will shrink down. But when you get them in place, it's kind of the lazy gardening tactic. I mean, moving them around is definitely a lot of work. But once you get them here, your soil starts getting better and better by the day. Especially throughout the summertime, if you're watering these areas consistently with wood chips. The wood chips shrink, but now when you dig down everywhere in my yard, you find worms and bugs and life. And the more life you can pack into your soil, the better your trees are going to do. So everything I'm showing you right here on how to feed your trees, all this is doing is feeding the actual life in the soil. Now, when you foliar feed, it gets absorbed in through the leaves, and that's really awesome. And when you feed this in the roots, it also gets soaked up into the roots. But the other thing that it's doing, and the other thing that the wood chips allow it to do, is all the food just gets soaked up into these chips and goes down and gets soaked up. And that is food for not only all of the microorganisms and bugs to eat, but for the roots to absorb. So it helps the fungi, it helps all the bugs, beneficial bugs, grow really well within the wood chips as kind of like a growing medium on top of the soil. Best part about wood chips is you don't have to bury anything. You don't have to mix the soil, till the soil, anything. All you do is you put them right on top and then let the wood chips do their work. Water it and feed it. Now here's the feeding. This is what we're going to be getting into today. There's 2 ways of feeding your trees. Well, there's more than that, but 2 ways that I do. It's a root feeding, an in-ground root feeding per tree, and then a foliar feeding per tree. Now the foliar feeding you got to be careful with. You want to make sure that you don't make it a very potent mixture. You need to make it very diluted. So I'm going to show you right now how I make my foliar feed, and this is what it is right here. It's in here. So my foliar feed is liquid iron, which is called chelated iron. Well, I got a comment from one of my fans that told me I was pronouncing it chelated iron. So thank you for the correction. It's chelated iron. So I'm really glad I'm saying it right now. I think I'm saying it right. Let me know if I'm saying it right. All right, so chelated iron, liquid kelp, fish emulsion, and then humic acid. Now, the fish emulsion and the liquid kelp is also combined together in one product that Seamus sells. I think it's Neptune's Harvest. It's a little bit more expensive. Seamus uses it. It's a really amazing product. I don't like to put fish emulsion personally on the leaves when I spray because it smells pretty bad. So what I do is I eliminate this ingredient for my foliar feeding. And so these are my 3 ingredients that I use for foliar feeding: humic acid, chelated iron, and liquid kelp. So it's a really nice, easy mixture, but you want to make sure when you're doing foliar to dilute your mixture heavily. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I mix it. It's kind of, you know, splish splash instead of a straight recipe. You can measure better if you want to do capfuls, which will be really well. What I do is I just give it a little splash, maybe a little bit more, you know, in a 5-gallon bucket, just a little bit of liquid iron. I'm going to do the same with humic acid, just a little bit of splash. You know, that's it. That's probably about a capful. And then the last one is humic acid. You just want to mix up this little bit and then just dump a little squirt. And that's it. And then you fill up the whole bucket with water. And this is your diluted mixture after it's fully full of water to spray on your leaves, the underside and the tops of your leaves. And we'll do that here in a second. Now, when you do the root feeding, you just add one ingredient, and it's the fish emulsion. Shake it up. I won't mix this batch on the leaves. I'll show you something else. But you put a little splash of that along with everything, and whoo, that smells terrible. But plants love it. So then what I'm going to do for root feeding now is I'm going to fill this bucket up, and I'm going to give 1 full bucket to each tree. I want to do root feedings once a month if possible. Once every 3 months is still fine. Once a month if possible. And then I want to do the foliar feedings twice a month, maybe even once a week during the summertime. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. I just wanted to show you and make sure that you don't make your foliar feed too powerful. Because if you make your foliar feed too powerful, it'll shock the plants and burn them a little bit. So also make sure that you apply your foliar feed on the leaves at dusk. So it's still a little bit too bright in the sky, but all this shade cloth I have over my tropicals will allow me to spray it right now. You just don't want the sun to use the droplet of water like a magnifying glass and burn it into the leaf. So I'm gonna fill this bucket up with water, and it's gonna go on 1 tree. I'll probably just feed my coconut cream mango back there because it needs a little bit of loving.
So safe the cat even likes some fish fertilizer. Of course you like it. Huh? Give him enough iron?
All right, so now we got the bucket. Now, since I put the fish emulsion in here, I'm just gonna fill it up, and this is gonna go in the root of a tree. I won't be putting this on the foliar feed because of the fish emulsion. And when you do it yourself, you'll see why, because it stinks. But just gonna fill this bucket up. This is gonna go inside of a tree, on the tree well for the root. And then I put a mixture without, I already had it pre-mixed, but it has just the 3 ingredients without the fish emulsion. Hi, baby. So that's what's in here. So what I have is these very cheap sprayers on Amazon. These are super cheap sprayers. You can get the better ones if you like, but these actually work really well. When I fill up one of these, I can pretty much do my whole front yard, and I have a lot to do up here. So 5 gallons will do front and backyard twice for me out right now. Okay, so you just pump it, and what you want to do when you spray your trees, I'm going to spray my Kerry Mango here first, is you want to wait till this time of night. I think it's like 7 o'clock right now. The sun's already down, set over the horizon, so when you spray your trees, the water won't burn. The water won't burn the leaves through the droplets of water like a magnifying glass. So I'm gonna go turn off the hose real quick. One of the things, it's really simple to spray your trees when you're spraying them with food, but a couple things you want to keep in mind. You want to give a nice coat to the top of the leaves. Nice good coat, and then you want to come up from below because the bottom of the leaves absorb a lot of nutrients too. So that's it. So this tree's fed. I've been feeding these guys a lot with foliar feed, probably once a week right now, but it's okay to do that because they can really eat it up right now. So I'm just gonna do a couple more of these. You guys can just watch it and mix up your own amount of foliar feed and spray your trees. Even if you have trees that are not fruit trees, they will benefit from food. This castor bean, I don't really need it to grow any faster, but what I'm spraying on the trees right now is food. It's not You hear the ice cream man. But this is food. This actually isn't anything harmful to anything. So you can spray anything as long as you keep it diluted, heavily diluted. If it's too strong, it can burn the leaves. So just do the dilution I said, just a little bit in a 5-gallon bucket. And when you look down here in the bucket, this is the mixture with the fish emulsion. And so you can kind of see it's pretty diluted, but there's still a lot of particles in there, and that's all the food. So this is the same dilution that I would do for the foliar feeding, but this whole bucket would feed my trees twice. It'll only just feed one root. So, but I don't want to feed this on my trees, on my leaves, because yeah, it smells like I was just cutting fish up for a while. But yeah, that's foliar feeding. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the foliar feeding. And why don't you guys put in the comments below if you foliar feed and if you guys see results from foliar feeding, because this whole place was dirt 14 months or 16 months ago. In February of 2017, I planted this. This was just dirt. And now this nice microclimate has been built. And a big part of it is how I feed the trees. And I feed the trees based upon what everybody says you're supposed to do out here, the people that are growing really amazing gardens. Jake Mace and Seamus O'Leary and Jay Behringer, all these guys feed their trees. Same with Craig McDonald with his Moringa Food Forest. He feeds his trees as well. So just keep that in mind, and if you want your trees to produce for you, feed them. But if you do feed your trees, comment below what you feed them. How do you feed your trees? Let me know. I want to learn something too. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give me a big green thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and comment below if you foliar feed and if you notice the effects from foliar feeding or root feeding your trees, because I do. Foliar feeding, root feeding, and wood chips. So comment below if that's what you're doing and let me know how it's going for you. And yeah, thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate you guys. If you do want to support me, go to patreon.com/developawesomeskills and help me plant more trees. Because Patreon is just a place where you can get behind your favorite artists and help them do what they love. And what I love to do is plant trees. So thanks again for watching this video. And until next time, develop awesome skills. Love you guys.